U.S. legislature wrapped up turnaround week on March 24th. This was the deadline for non-exempt bills to get passed out of their respective chambers of origin. Bills that were not blessed by the House Speaker or Senate President are now considered dead. The legislature reconvened on Wednesday, March 1st. So now bills that pass the House will go over to the Senate side for hearings and to be discussed. And bills that pass the Senate will go over to the House side for hearings. The deadline for these bills to get passed out of their chamber and head to the governor's desk will be Wednesday, March 29th. I'll provide a brief overview of happenings in the Capitol and things and bills that Kansas Farm Bureau is engaged in. Relating to the budget process, the budget committees and subcommittees continue their annual work of working through the budgetary process. Budget priorities are beginning to take shape as multiple committees look at priorities for the state as fiscal year 2024 approaches. Of note, it appears the legislature may put about $1 billion into the rainy day fund. This will put the rainy day fund at more than $2 billion. The legislature is also looking at significant tax reductions and adjustments to provide tax relief for Kansans. The discussion is focused around the removal of Social Security income from the state income tax, a flattening and lowering of the income tax, accelerating the food sales tax exemption, and even a bit of property tax reduction. In the agriculture space, Kansas Farm Bureau was supportive of House Bill 2160, which exempts the transport of cotton bales from a secured load requirement under certain conditions. The House Agriculture Committee had a hearing on the ownership of land by foreign adversaries. It was supported by Attorney General Chris Kobach. Kansas Farm Bureau and the Kansas Livestock Association submitted joint neutral testimony informing the committee that the bill is carefully drafted in a manner that allows both organizations to be neutral, but significant amendments would likely lead to the group's opposition due to the infringement on private property rights and potential constitutional concerns. The House and Senate also both passed a concurrent resolution disapproving of the designation of the lesser prairie chicken as a threatened species in Kansas by the United States Fish and Wildlife Services. Kansas Farm Bureau has also been engaged in the water conversation. The House passed out 116-6 House Bill 2279, which Kansas Farm Bureau supported. This bill requires groundwater management districts, or GMDs, to submit annual reports to the legislature. The bill would also require GMDs to identify priority areas of concerns and create action plans to deal with water quantity and quality issues within those areas. The bill also outlines a procedure by which the chief engineer can utilize the Kansas Water Appropriation Act to help resolve issues in those priority areas. Additionally, the House passed out 119-3 House Bill 2302, which is supported by Kansas Farm Bureau and creates the Water Technical Assistance Fund and Water Projects Grant Fund through a carve-off of existing sales tax. It would be authorized by the Kansas Water Office, and the office would be required to adopt rules and regulations pertaining to the criteria for the grants. This water fund would be designed to help with water infrastructure and water conservation programs into the future. In the utility space, Kansas Farm Bureau is supporting Senate Bill 68, which provides incumbent electric transmission owners a right of first refusal, or ROFR, for the construction of certain electric transmission lines. ROFR will help ensure a more reliable source of energy as transmission lines are built to match increasing energy demands. Proponents identified that the incumbent utilities will provide cost savings to energy customers in Kansas in the long run because they better understand the design standards that are necessary to maintain adequate transmission lines in the state, while also having existing relationships and local representation with landowners where those lines are sited. Kansas Farm Bureau introduced Senate Bill 166 to require the Kansas Corporation Commission, or KCC, to make the names and addresses of property owners along major transmission line siting proposals submitted to the KCC be publicly available. This transparency would allow landowners to understand the siting of the proposed lines, as well as allow neighbors to understand who else is affected by the KCC siting process. Additionally, the House and Senate Energy and Utilities Committee held hearings on their bills proposing the election of the KCC commissioners. Kansas Farm Bureau opposed the bills and stated our policy encouraging an expansion of the commission from 3 to 7 commissioners by means of appointment by the governor. To stay up to date with news from the Capitol, we encourage you to sign up for Kansas Farm Bureau's weekly legislative updates that come out every Monday afternoon. You can do so at kfb.org/advocacy.